Off my Walkman staring back at me. 'Cause in my dreams, it's always there. The evil face that twists my mind and brings me to despair.
Former 175 Ranger out of Savannah, Georgia. I was invited up here to do the RMAC Airgun competition.
Yeah, my name is Lee Brogdon. I am a retired Marine Raider of 20 years, 4 years in the infantry, and then my last 16 was with MARSOC and the Marine Raiders when they stood up. Recently retired 2 years ago, and I am currently contracting with the U.S. government.
Hi, I'm Josh Martinez. I'm a former Marine. I served in the Marine Corps from 2008 to 2014 before I switched over to the National Guard. And I've been serving in the National Guard in CONUS and OCONUS operations ever since.
One word to describe like my experience here would just be a little overwhelming, and by overwhelming in a good way. I mean that as in I was very unaware how in depth all this stuff went and how much more to it there actually is involved with it. Again, I'm pretty well versed with sniper matches, field style, PRS, anything that comes with like a large caliber rifle, and this was a whole avenue of marksmanship that I was unaware existed and how in depth it existed. Like I said, there's a bunch of things that carry over, but this is something that was definitely outside my wheelhouse and a very humbling experience. I've always fell back on even during this competition, I fell back on the fundamentals, and I relied on the stuff I knew from that world, and that kept me, I feel like, with not embarrassing myself, but it was a very humbling experience to see what these air rifles are actually capable of and the extent of like what I would consider is a completely different realm of ballistics.
Coming on this trip, I was worried about what would I be able to perform. So kind of a stressful moment of this trip was when I got out here and I saw the amount of competitors and I saw the level of guns, but with the help of the crew and the Reason Outdoors and the camaraderie of the folks here, it was easy to overcome those fears and be like, I can do this. And the mental issue of being able to like focus back in like I had to do on the teams and when I was active, there's a lot to remember, from the calculations and dope on your gun to the amount of rounds per stage and the order of the stage, like shooting it from near to far, far to near, or those things really helped me kind of snap my mind back into team days and the days when I was still active. And it made it easier on my nerves that I wasn't going to let folks down. I was going to be able to perform like I used to. And it took away that angst, and it kind of brought on a euphoric feeling of being with the bros again. And it took away some of my FOMO, that fear of missing out. And I was out here with the guys, and we're slinging lead, and we're hitting steel, and we're missing targets, and we're laughing about it. I had a boogered up mag change, and he's like, so did I. So it was just like being on a team or on a deployment or during a workup when you razz each other, but it's okay because you all had the shared experience. And that sort of stuff has just kind of put me at ease and made this trip ultra fun and a great experience. And I've enjoyed it immensely.
participated in the Rocky Mountain Airgun Challenge, and this is after 5 days of hunting with a bolt gun. So again, the learning curve was steep again to go back to a gun that not only was I not familiar with, but in all of my training and experience and years in the military, never shot an air gun before, and I was competing in a competition against men and women who have been doing this their entire lives and not shooting real guns. So the nerves were high, but just again, through my experience, when you're nervous, that means you care, and you got to get the jitters out, and you got to go through everything to perform at an exceptional level, especially when Marines that are better than you are watching you. So during the competition, to give you a visual, I started here, and then after a day of learning the weapon system and the scope, I ended here. So to me, that is progression, and I learned a lot.
Get back.
Oh, they saw. They saw and they heard. They knew exactly what was going on and who was there. Yeah, and they really enjoyed it. You made believers this week. You guys kicked some ass. I was fortunate enough to shoot the PRS event with Josh today, and man, did we have a good time.
That's awesome.
we shot pretty good, but the best part is we had a good time doing it. No matter how good or bad we did.
Awesome.
I would absolutely recommend this to service members and veterans, or anybody for that matter. It just seems to be a little family outing. That it's more of a little reunion, especially for service members that have been in like either current or in the past. It's the stories carry over. It's a super small community. Odds are we're 2 phone calls away from everybody we know. So odds are you know somebody who's a friend of somebody else, and you guys can all share experiences. I've met a bunch of people where we were on deployments at the same time together and had no idea we were in the same country at the same time, at the same,
If I was asked to broadcast out for the reason, if they spread the word, I would do it from the mountaintops. This is a great organization with great people. It's a newer organization, which I found out through a friend that had worked with Tony Cowden, and me finding out about it has been a blessing. And I would tell everybody that I can about this organization and that they need to sign up and try and get on a trip.
So after this experience, I would highly recommend something like this to veterans and service members, men and women. I learned a lot. I had a lot of fun. Again, humility is a great lesson to learn. And when you're around people who support you and we're all like-minded, it was a great adventure and a great time. And hold on. Yeah, dickhead. Ruining my moment. All right. Hold on. Woo! Red light, blue light. Red light, blue light.